at
It is Ari.
Clause.
Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Clause YouTube channel Strategic Frontlines. Today we have Major General Sudhakar Jee, VSM retired, and he's a strategic analyst. And today we are going to discuss how is India placed as far as rare earth elements are concerned, because we are finding they are becoming more and more significant in today's world. So how are we placed there? As also the STEM education, especially the higher PhDs, how we are placed in that, and the disruptive technology, because all these things are going to revolutionize the military. So firstly, coming to the rare earth materials, we know that there are 17 metallic elements which are considered as rare earth materials, not because they are rare or they are not found easily, but the fact that they are in concentrations which are economically difficult to mine. That is why they are known as rare earth materials. And China is the undisputed global leader. Now, why these rare earth elements are very essential? Because, for example, if we take defense, so they are essential for precision guided munitions, radars, sonars, etc. So my first question to General Sudhakar Ji is, how are we placed as far as these rare earth elements are concerned? And why are these important in defense? I had mentioned few, but you would like to elaborate further.
Okay. Firstly, Dr. Roshan, thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show. Perhaps this is for the second time. Maybe we are meeting through the podcast.
Yes.
And as regards this particular subject, it actually assumes importance not only for defense services in 21st century, but also the civilian life. But allow me, before I come to dilate uh, or respond to your question in specific, if I miss out, please remind me. I'm mindful of the time restriction and I'll try to squeeze in. But allow me to cover 2, 3 points which our audience must know the larger perspective of the whole issue. The larger perspective is that in 2014, 25th of September, Make in India concept was announced by none other than our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And it was intended to actually increase our manufacturing from whatever percentage. At that point in time, 2013-14, it is to be 16.7% of the economic pie diagram. If you recall, ladies and gentlemen, the pie generally is depicted with the help of 3 segments. One is the service sector, the second is agriculture, the third is industry. Manufacturing was around 16.7. However, in 2014, it had touched a figure of 15.9%. And the aim was to actually increase it to more than this, around 25% by 2020. By 2020, it didn't happen. And in 2025, a stock taking was done. Again, it was found that the latest one, day before yesterday, in the seminar here in Jaipur, it was highlighted that the manufacturing has gone down to 14%. So why is it so? That for past 11 years, our country has put heart and soul into it. And we are getting a very, India is being called as the shining spot. And if I may give the breakdown of the economic pie diagram, majorly it is covered by those 3 aspects which I told you or shared with you. Services is around a little more than 55%. Manufacturing is 15.9%. Construction is 8%, agriculture is 16%, mining, quarrying, electricity, gas, and water supply is 5%. Total comes to 99.999%, approximately 100%. Now, it was followed by Atmanirbharta Bharat 2020, 12th of May. This was in the backdrop of the pandemic having broken out. India had to go in for self-developed IP equipments, masks, nebulizers, then you had the ventilators and host of other things, oxygen cylinder. There was an acute shortage of oxygen, and vaccines also had to be produced. And so, therefore, this was an impetus given to a self-reliance, and India to become a developed country by 2047. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to grow at a rate of 7 to 8% annually. We have to have a per capita income of 18,000 US dollar and be a 30 trillion US dollar economy. In 2025, where we stand, India stands at 6.3%. This is as far as the Press Information Bureau of India. And the today's per capita income of India is 2,700 US dollar. We are expecting by 2030 it should be reaching a figure of 4,771. By 2047, by the experts who have actually given out these crystallized these figures, it would be reaching a figure of 20,000 US dollar. Like Dr. Roshan has already highlighted, the rare earth element, ladies and gentlemen, very well said. They are not exclusively for the defense equipment. They are also for the civil dual-use equipments or the civilian products and equipment. Even a washing machine also has got microchips, or TV has got microchips, or microwave has got microchips. So if I share with you, you see that there is a unique properties of the rare earth element. And what are these rare properties? They have that strong magnetism. They have got the luminescence characteristics. They have got the catalytic capabilities. These three essential, predominantly essential parameters or the attributes make them essential for application in electronics, clean energy, defense, and many more. But essentially, if you dive deep into the issue, one would come to a conclusion. One of my articles came out in South Asian Time, New York, sometime back in 13th to 19th August 2022, the global Chinese quest for rare earth elements. Here I'm showing through the camera. This is the article that came out. And in
Uh,
that, I had highlighted certain issues that 20% of rare earth element are used in permanent magnets as essential components of weapon systems. This may not be known to many of us, even including people from the defense services. Weapon systems and high performance aircraft. Number two, 30 to 35% of technology, sorry, 30 to 35 technology critical elements. They're called in short TCE, essential for computers, consumer electronics, solar cells, wind turbines, electric circuits, military and medical applications. I'll leave it at that. Those who are keen, you can actually go deeper into the issue, Google up and find out. But one issue, just for the common man or the viewer or an audience who's listening to this podcast, you would be able to relate. A car has got 1,000 to 3,000 microchips. Okay, a laptop has got one microchip. A mobile has got six microchips. An electric vehicle car has got 3,000 microchips. So from this, you can estimate as to what is the relevance of the subject that we are talking about. And in that also, let me very quickly share with you that when you talk about the semiconductor or the microchips, they are essentially not silicon wafers. The wafers are or also could be from different kinds of metals and elements, but predominantly they're silicon wafers, and they take one silicon wafer is 30 centimeter long, and it requires 3 months of time to prepare, and it requires 2,200 gallons of water, which is around 8,328 liters of water for fabrication, including 1,500 gallons, which is 5,678 liters of ultra pure water, 1.5 gallon of normal water or incoming water produces 1 gallon of ultra pure water. You can well imagine what is the quantum of required average energy. It's a high, very heavy duty power supply is required, consistent and non-interrupted power supply is required to the tune of 1.54 kilowatt hour per centimeter square. Now, why am I sharing all this? India does not have, till about 3 years back, India had given up. We had raised our hands. That semiconductor is a no-go case as far as India is concerned. Thank God we have woken up. There is a wake up call and we have kick started. One is their semiconductor industry. There are some close to this place, Guwahati. One is in Gujarat. And one I am told is UP is turning out to be a big hub. But why am I sharing all this?
General Sudhakar, we'll come back to you
Yeah,
with other questions. It's the initial warm up we have done. But let me also welcome Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, AVSM, PVSM retired. These across to the show. And General Singh, we were discussing about the rare earth material. And as we know, India has about 8% of global reserves. And we have recently formed the National Critical Mineral Mission for this purpose, and rare earths are used for defense purposes, whether it is precision missiles or radars or sonars. So I would also like to bring you and your comments on whatever you would like to give your initial comments.
Jain
Thank you,
sir.
Dr. Roshan. Good evening, here. Thanks, Dr. Roshan, and welcome, General Sudhakar, for this podcast. We are indeed grateful that you spared your time to come on close and dilate on this very important issue. This is the future. And in a seminar just 2 days back, I had mentioned that technology is no more an enabler of war fighting. Technology is the battlefield. Whatever is going to happen, it will happen in a technological milieu where the manpower also has to be equally good to handle the technology to its advantage. So there are two major critical challenges in front of our country, and first among them is, of course, to do the I won't say leadership, but at least be among the top three. We are already among the top 4 5 as far as new generation technology is concerned, but the gap is very huge if you compare in terms of China and India, or US and India. See, why we keep referring to China is because China is one of our adversaries, and Pakistan and China enjoy a ironclad relationship with each other. So therefore, whatever you are going to see as far as Pakistan is concerned will be actually what China can bring to bear on you. So you understand that we have not a one front war, we have a war with our adversary, which is going to be a fusion war, as we have been now telling in clause over a period of time, that it's going to be a fusion war where not only China and Pakistan, but Turkey, which is also a frontline state as far as technology and its uses and its exploitation is concerned, or along with Azerbaijan, which although not a leader in technology, but it has had some hands-on experience of handling technology in a battlefield. So between the two, they can also add up to the overall power of our adversary in terms of combat power which they can bring on us. So if this is the reality which we are going to face, I think India can only rely on itself. And if India has to rely on itself, it has to focus in three areas. The past three revolutions in military affairs, we were only doing, in the first one, we were nowhere. In the second one, we were doing a catching up, and we could not catch up because of our own internal issues, whether it was economic, whether it was social. I mean, there were whole lot of issues, our policies as such. Uh, but this one, the RMA 4, I would say. In fact, I would now like to talk about it as RMA 5, because it is the new generation equipment where we are
Yes.
not behind too much. We are not supposed to catch up. We have to just intensify our efforts. So let me start with this context, addressing the three issues. First is rare earth elements. Now, rare earth elements, we realized, but we realized it a little too late, a little too after the other leaders had actually gone ahead miles, and that was how to exploit your own rare earth elements. We have been roaming around the world trying to find out rare earth elements. India too has a lot of rare earth mineral deposits. Only thing is we had not been exploring it. We had not been mining it. Good that the government has changed its policy and it has started now mining, or it has started this the mission which you call national mission for critical
Critical mission.
elements.
Yes.
So it has started now exploring. A new policy has been now devised, and this was done 2 years back. Let me tell you, it's not a recent. So we did
Yeah.
wake up. We did wake up a few years earlier, and we are now fairly good, fairly in advanced stages. We have found some rare earth deposits in our northeast, and there are, I'm sure, as we continue to explore ourselves, we will find these elsewhere as well. As far as your semiconductor chips, which General Sudhakar ji very rightly brought out, that it's a critical area. We were nowhere near. We just had one small little factory in Chandigarh, which used to make some kind of chips for our for daily use equipment, which were being sold in the environment. Now what we are looking at is that, we have gone in a big way with Taiwan, with which is that our own third Semi-Tech, which is an Indian firm, which is now getting into semiconductors. We signed a agreement with US, so under ISET for semiconductor production. So we are now looking at these, at least in the legacy chips. I'm not talking of the micro or nano micro five micron and below chips, but at least in the legacy chips we would like to have some kind of an independence. So therefore India is waking up, but I think we need to really hurry it up, because we will be left behind in this also if we do not really look at our speed of inducting these technologies. And good that they are dual use technologies, because if they are dual use, the pull for private industry is that much larger. So if the private industry will see business in this, they will automatically go in for investing R&D, etc., which can then easily be diverted to the Indian defense requirements. And today AI is something which is now into every aspect of life, and every feature of Indian defense requirement has to be driven by AI. And AI can only be driven by rare earth elements, which can be then used for semiconductors and so on and so forth. I will not deliberate much on it. The next issue is about STEM, which we can cover subsequently as you ask the question. General Sudhakar is an expert as far as the data of STEM, etc., is concerned. He'll really blow the mind of our audience. I mean, I see a very small cross section of people today, but I think we did not give enough chance on the social media to promote it. But as people see it subsequently, I think they will realize that this is a very important discussion for warfare, at least for India to remain prepared. Because unless we are resilient in our military, we cannot move toward the journey of Viksit Bharat or self-reliant India with hassle-free roadmap. I'll stop here, and you can go ahead with the next questions.
Yes. Thank you, Jal Singh. Coming to STEM landscape, you rightly pointed out, rare earth is very important. And apart from that, the STEM landscape is also equally important. And if we see that US dominate that, followed quickly by the Chinese. So I would like to get in General Sudhakar here. Though we have a very sound education system, but how, as far as infrastructure, funding, research, and other things are concerned, how do you find we are doing it? And especially as far as collaboration between the industry and the international firms are concerned. Because what matters is how many research papers you put out, what is the patent you are doing. All these things are essential for innovation and taking your R&D forward. Your views, General Sudhakar.
Dr. Roshan, there is nobody better than you. You have worked in the ecosystem. You deserve to have the last say on the subject. But being a student who is quite enthusiastic about the progressive development of our nation building, I do keep in touch and do dabble in such issues. Now, it's very important for our people to understand what is STEM. Why is it important? The STEM for normal people, uh, it is nothing scientific. It has become a way of life. But without meaning to make you defensive, Dr. Roshan, there was a time when USA was way ahead in STEM, but now USA has been left behind by many numbers. So I'll give you the statistics. Let me very quickly cover for our audience, people like me, to understand why, what is STEM. And STEM is actually assuming a lot of importance in today's world. There is a heavy demand for a highly qualified workforce in fields essential to innovate, develop, and technologically advance, and so as to address the critical issues which are arising in 21st century. The students of STEM background are better. They have a better ability to manage challenging situations. They keep up with the emerging technology and develop society. Now, what is STEM? STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. In the USA, they don't give admission to non-STEM. The preferences are for the STEM graduates. Okay, so I was going little deeper because whatever figures I had done in earlier research, it was actually giving a very dismal profile of India as a country. So I was trying to look for some better results today. The All India Survey on Higher Education, AISHE. Firstly, PhD STEM in India for 2025. It is not available in any of the platforms. I have spent at least 2 hours today. If anybody finds out, please let me know. I went on to many secondary kind of platforms, All India Survey on Higher Education, AISHE. There I found some data, 2021 to 2022 academic year. Over 42,000 students had enrolled in PhD STEM, 7,200 awarded. And out of that, I am given to understand, I hope I am not right in what I am saying, there is a significant dropout rate as high as 40%. So you can well imagine. Now, what comes next? I'll keep sharing. There is a projected growth target a government has identified to produce 18 million STEM graduates by 2027. Now, why is it important? It is important because the speed at which technology is developing, STEM is now it is an inescapable component of our way of life. It encourages students to research, assess, and address real world problems while assisting them in development of the critical thinking abilities. Now, additionally, I also would like to share very quickly, then we go into the brass tacks. The STEM also encourages innovation, which I have covered, flexibility, collaboration qualities, and also these are all very crucial towards today's world. Why is it crucial? Allow me to just dial a couple of issues. Now, first issue I wish to share is that nearly 29,000 doctorates per year are produced in India. It is about, it says, the open platform says that it is half of China's total. No, it is one third of China. China has already crossed 78,000. Now, men are majority. Whereas in other countries, you check up, you find the ladies, the female numbers are comparable or they're larger than the men. There is a meaning behind this. We'll discuss maybe in the Q&A. How many PhD holders are jobless in India? They are about less than 1% unemployment rate for PhD holders, as reported by one of the agencies. Now, compared to national average of 7%, it says is the unemployment. My study and research indicates 9.2%. It may be wrong, it may be right, but close to. And it is demanding for highly skilled individuals, and that is the need of the hour. 10 most in demand PhD degree in 2025 world over: computer science, AI, management, business administration, data science, big data analysis, health administration, environment, education, cyber security, etc. What does India need to do? India needs to identify students, push this 1%, less than 1% unemployed PhD holders, to encourage more number of students to do PhD, particularly in STEM subjects. I'll go on to the kind of issue which is going to actually help India to take a call. In one of my research, after DeepSeek was actually launched by China on 20th January 2025, mind you, this launching was matching with the assumption of presidency Trump 2.0. There was a message which was being given, strategic communication by China to US. You know what happened to US domestic market, Nvidia and a host of other companies which are producing or dealing with the semiconductors, how they went down. They dropped like a hot brick and lost about, I think, $3 or $6 trillion in just about 48 to 96 hours. Let me give you the statistics. 2000, China realized that if they have to become a global power, they need to focus on STEM. Look at the statistics which I'm going to share. China had 9,038. USA at that point in time had 34,801. In the year 2007, China introduced a new system called as a Young Talent Science Graduates or something like that. Based on that scheme, the statistics of 2010 are revealing. China overtook USA, posted a figure of 34,801 PhD STEM. USA improved from wherever it was earlier to 26,076. In the year 2019, China reached a figure of 49,498. USA could scramble up to a figure of 33,759. For the first time in the international publications, India's name was found, and it said India has produced 700 PhD STEM. Out of 700, 70% have migrated and taken up foreign citizenship. So out of 700, if 70% go out, it leaves us with just about 210. And now I have got some encouraging figures which indicate something better, and hopefully it will improve. In the year 2025, China has posted a figure of 77,179. USA has got 39,959. It has left the USA far behind. Now, another issue which is related to this is the world leading scientist. World leading scientist is a scientist who, apart from going through different tests and clearances, he is supposed to have published his papers in internationally accepted and accomplished journals, and he is to be recognized. Then, the figure in 2020, China had 18,805. USA had 36,959. And in the year 2024, the figure of China has overtaken USA. They have reached a figure of 32,501. These are the global scientists, world leading scientists. India, fortunately, after a lot of hard work today morning, I could narrow down to a figure which actually was published in Stanford University annual list of top scientists. India had 1,000 leading scientists in the year 2020. In 2024, this 1,000 has gone up to 5,352. So there is an improvement, and suffice to say that our efforts are actually paying up, but we need to accelerate. And when you talk about the global technological leadership, perhaps you will come back to me later. But here itself, I would like to cover in one shot itself that in the year 2025, the China's leadership was established in 57 out of 64 critical emerging technologies, CET, as stated by Australian Strategic Policy Institute, and US was leading only in 7. Now, this is a reversal of the statistics which was evident way back in 2003 to 2007, wherein USA was leading in 61 critical emerging technologies out of 64. China was leading only in 3. So from 3, China has taken a great leap forward to 57 now. And this has made all the change, and this is being operated and developed and progressed under the acronym or the slogan called as Made in China 2025. This shift in technological leadership has significant implications for global trade, economics, and geopolitical power dynamics. This is all I have to cover as far as the STEM. Please,
yes, what you're saying is quite right. The data which you have given is quite right, and that is possible because if you see in 2020, the Chinese graduate in STEM were about 41% of the total graduates who were coming.
Correct.
And that is why the more graduates you have, the more the chances of them taking PhD and others are they increase. Similarly, but it's a positive sign for India also, because at the same time we also had 30% graduates who were coming from STEM background. So the thing are improving because we also have a national science institute, the IITs. So many things are happening, but I think we need to work doubly in this area. So here I would like to ask Janil Singh also his opinion. What does he feel about the environment? Janil Singh, you need to unmute your mic.
See, as far as STEM goes, now this is something, its importance was not realized by India. Again, we have been always the late starter, and I wouldn't blame India or the Indian government for that. What I would say is that our requirements initially when we got independence were different from what they were as far as America is concerned. But I would definitely like to comment a little in the negative, because the Chinese also were of a similar kind of a environment in which they got independence. Probably 2 years later, I won't say independence, when the Communist Party of China took over China. Otherwise, it was always under the common thing, who later on fled to Taiwan. He carried away everything with him, all cultural artifacts, etc. All those things, the common thing carried away into Taiwan. They didn't want the communists to kind of uh, uh, you know uh, finger with or change the cultural traditions of China. So with that went their inherent knowledge, etc. Quite a bit of it which was taken away. So we were kind of in a similar kind of a situation, but they, despite having so many upheavals, were able to quickly realize the importance of future, and accordingly streamline themselves. They learned from the Russian experience or USSR experience. So they quietly, without telling, without announcing the world, shifted from communism or a pure hardcore socialist form of governance to a kind of a mixed governance where capitalism was also thrown inside, and which you see the results today. As far as STEM is concerned, they started looking at it way back, and that is why they were so much ahead, and they gave a lot of preference. Initially, let me tell you, they did not focus on quality. Here I would like to differ slightly with Jan Sudhakar. Quality wise, they were not interested. They were just interested in increasing the numbers. Probably they thought that if they increase the numbers, automatically the qualities will also increase. It's like, make the house so big that in the house there are some good corners also, something of a strategy like that. Let me quote with a figure that there was a comparison done between the articles published. I'm not talking of PhD articles published by Indians and by the Chinese. The Chinese outnumbered the Indians 6 to 7 times. But in quality, this gap had reduced to 1 is to 2 or 1 is to 3. Now, that is the difference of approach which they had. And this 1 is to 2 to 3 difference actually got them what the technologies really got them. And they have also been smart. They have played the reverse engineering card quite well. They in fact relied heavily on Russia, exploited Russia or USSR, and built their capacities. They are still behind in certain critical areas of technology like engines, etc. They are also struggling till date. So, but the good thing is that STEM, they have focused a lot in the hope that they will in future get much more quality. I had a small little presentation deck. I thought, let me just share it with the audience so that they get to know what exactly is STEM all about. So, besides what General General Sudhakar has shared, let me just tell you the comparative insights. See, China leads in total STEM PhD, no brainer. Jan Sudhakar straight away mentioned about that, followed by US, India, Russia, and the EU. So we are fairly ahead as far as the STEM PhDs are concerned, not in numbers, but in terms of hierarchy, we are up there. Per capita, now per capita would mean for every 100 lakhs, for every 1 lakh, how many PhDs are there? And here you will find that intensity per population is more than China of India. India is 5 per 1 lakh, and China is 14 per 1 lakh. So, technically speaking, We are very close to it. We can catch up if we focus well on this. Quality concerns, US graduates show stronger critical thinking. And here I would like to again say, it is not because of the people of America, it is because of the students of China, India and Russia. You see, so there is a hint of brain drain here, and this is what we need to really tackle. That this brain drain gets reversed. People say that brain drain is good. I agree, brain drain is good. But after, what the Chinese do is they send them for studies, and then they get them back. They
Yeah,
put
yeah.
those conditions that you will study there, you'll get your PhD, but bring back that knowledge to the country, so that which gets the now as far as the international dynamics goes, in the international dynamics, we are uh, the we are US is definitely up as far as the critical technologies are concerned. So you have to give it to the United States of America that in key areas they are still the leaders. They may not be in numbers, but in key areas they are still the numbers, still the leaders as far as this is concerned. So this we have to be careful before we actually carry out our analysis of the STEM and PhD. So I thought I must share this, but otherwise, if somebody wants, I'll just keep flashing the specific data up to 2024 of the STEM graduates, etc. So that they later on the audience can see it and you know uh, benefit from it. Like for example, the US definitely has a quality and quantity edge, not against China but against other countries. But 42% of them are from international students. So I think this is a lesson for India, that why shouldn't we also encourage international students? Let them be from smaller countries, let them be from Africa, let them be from any country. Let me tell you, more the minds which apply to a particular problem, chances of getting solution is always going to be better. So we should also start encouraging reverse mind I would say harvesting, as far as our STEM technologies go. Another area where the Americans tweak the STEM data is they include life sciences also in the STEM.
Yes,
This is
yes.
something, which you all must understand. If we were to add the life sciences, let me tell you, our PhDs would actually go very high. But we don't include the life sciences into it. So these are some of the smart tricks which people undertake, and I would recommend those who are listening to kindly share this video after the video is over, to really see the critical part of what we are doing in class, to decipher the data which is available on the net. This data is available on the net. I have taken it from the net, but how do you interpret this data is more important. Then, if you see China STEM data, there has been a rapid growth, annual increase of 24%. Most PhDs are Chinese national, and quality improvements are ongoing. Why? International recruitment and thesis reform. Again, that point which I mentioned you, the quality is being improved by international. A lot of Indians are going to China and doing PhD. You have one of our own students in class who has actually gone to China, spent 7 years there, done PhD, and now we have got him back in clause. So this is the right approach. Send him, let him study, let him understand what the Chinese are up to, and then exploit it for our own benefit, our own improvement of quality of knowledge, which we are trying to take it out from our clause. So this is the right approach, and we should learn from it. As far as India is concerned, specific terms, 24,300 PhDs annually by 2014, ranking fourth globally, and 27,000 STEM doctorates by 2020. So focus is on engineering, manufacturing, construction. 30% of the graduates are in STEM field. So look, we haven't included the life sciences here. If you saw the American data, they had included the life sciences there.
Correct,
If we
correct.
add these life sciences, I think we'll be somewhere there. We'll be probably in our country. Life sciences are more popular than the STEM subjects. So
Exactly.
yeah. So
It was.
as far as Europe is concerned, they are focusing purely on quality. This is something which we must realize, and in that, Germany is the leader.
Yes.
Germany is very strict with the PhDs, and they only award you PhDs when you are fully, quality wise. So their production rate is much higher. That means if they produce, say, 15,000 PhD STEM graduates, out of that, nearly 10,000 would get employed in the production stream for improving their the manufacturing, whether in the civil, whether on the defense. This is something which we have to learn from the EU countries. Smaller countries are not overreaching. They are just doing a small insight. 3.6% of adults only with PhD in countries like Slovenia, Switzerland, etc. Why? Because I think their model of the security is totally different. Switzerland doesn't believe that they will really face any threat, so they really don't require that much amount of PhDs in defense and other related issues, STEM related issues. So my point is that from each of these blocks, EU learn quality, China learn the reverse brain drain. That means get these guys back into India to work for us. And from the US, 42% international students giving them critical thinking, दिमाग लगाना. That दिमाग लगाना जो है ना, वो हमको जरूरी है. ऐसे scholars को ले आए. We should get such scholars who are able to actually think through a problem and come up with some out of the box solution. कोई ऐसे solution निकाल के ले आए जिससे कि हम अपना जो है बेनिफिट और ज़्यादा बढ़ा सकें, ना कि वो वही बैठ गए वहाँ हार्वर्ड में चले गए, हार्वर्ड के बाद सीईओ बन गए किसी और. बन जाइए आप, यू मोस्ट वेलकम टू बिकम द सीईओ, बट एज सीईओ हाउ मच ऑफ अ बिजनेस हैव यू गॉट फॉर इंडिया? दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट. आप बन
Uh,
गए, वहाँ के सिटीजन हो गए,
yes.
वो ज़्यादा जरूरी है. विद एज फार एज रशिया इज कंसर्न, रशिया जो था ना, शुरू से ही दे वर फोकसिंग ऑन very high quality PhD. They initially had a large number, but subsequently, like annually, 30% were doctorates in Russia. It's a very huge number, very huge number. But subsequently, they slowed down because of their internal problems, etc. But even then, even today, they are doing a lot of innovation. And I can tell you with one big statement: in the Russia-Ukraine war, America is not able to cope up with the surge. It is not able to give ammunition because it doesn't want to give ammunition to Ukraine. It is not capable of giving because it is not capable of producing that. But if you take Russia, it is surging its production. We met. I think you were not there that time. There was a delegation from Russia which had come, and we had a long discussion. And they said that we have actually surged our production capabilities many times to ensure that they are never deficient of either the military equipment or the ammunition. They had quoted some figures offhand, I can't remember, but this is the difference between the two sides. Russia has always been a military oriented country, so they are able to sustain this war where Ukraine is being supported by the entire EU, NATO, and US. And there are many other countries, who are not NATO. They are also quietly supporting Ukraine. Despite that, Russians are actually doing well. I'm not trying to take sides here. I'm just telling the good points of every country, which we must imbibe in ourselves and look ahead in the future. So with that, I think I'll stop here, and we can remove this presentation. Let's give a brief overview.
Jal Singh, you rightly pointed out that we need to learn from other countries, especially if we want our people to come back. Then we need to have the infrastructure, the environment we need to create so that these people can think of coming and starting their own startups. And the quality needs to be maintained, and also the critical thinking has to be started right from schools. We need to work on that also. Now, you also mentioned about military technologies and other things. So our last segment deals with the disruptive technologies. You spoke about the RMA. You said that the revolutionary military affairs, we can call it, it is the fifth RMA which is going on. So my question I would like to bring in here, General Sudhakar Jee. We know that technology is playing a major role, whether it is AI, machine learning, or autonomous systems where laws that is lethal autonomous weapon systems are coming. There are additive manufacturing, 4D, 5D printing, then space, cyber, all these things are coming. Apart from that, there is new wave of deep disruption which are going to come through quantum DWs. So in your view, what do you mean by disruptive technology, and what are the two or three main disruptive technology which you can mention is going to impact the military?
Okay, very good question. And just allow me to add 2 points to what DG has just said. China has gone into establish two international standard universities. It has hired the best of the faculties, giving 3 times the package they were getting in the earlier logo, 3 times or more. That's how they have started attracting the best of the students coming for higher studies. This is one thing I thought I must share. And second thing, talking about the surge capability of Russia. Yes, sir, you are very right. Russia has attained the capability of 4 to 5 times of production of defense products, more than USA, NATO, and UK put together. 4 to 5 times the rate of production of ammunition, artillery guns, tanks, name anything. That is the capacity of the Russian defense industry. These are the 2 points. And now coming to the question which you have made, disruptive technology. My understanding about the whole thing is that we as human beings, we are used to the available setup of technologies around a washing machine, maybe a microwave, maybe a TV, or let's say instead of a cycle or a scooter, each house has got a four-wheeler now. We are using the mobile, a laptop. So once upon a time, mobile never used to be there. There used to be a hand telephone or landline. So from landline, our lifestyle had changed to adapt ourselves to the mobile. That means a new technology, how it has actually displaced the established technologies which the mankind was used to and has started predominating our lifestyle. That is what is called as disruptive technology. And if you allow me, I'll just quickly give small examples. There are 5 disruptive technologies majorly. There are many. You talk about electric batteries, hypersonic missile, defense, advanced RF communication, drones, robotics, energy storage, biotechnology, 5G internet, electric batteries. But 5 major disruptive technologies could reach a total market value of 220 trillion US dollar by 2030, up from the current 19 trillion, 42% growth. Which are these? These are basically the artificial intelligence, the energy storage, the robotics, multiomics. Multiomics, it includes life, health, biotechnology, and medicines. And last but not the least is the public blockchain. It is actually setting the stage for an explosive increase in productivity and economic development. Why am I highlighting these 5 things? Is you see, there is an issue, if time permits, Dr. Roshan, we also need to briefly touch upon the weaponization of the rare earth element or the critical technologies, which has actually got penetrated into the geopolitics and the geoeconomics of the global order, if time permits. Otherwise, disruptive technology is something we need to focus on. And in order to, India has just about begun, the 6G mission has just started. And connected to that are quantum computing, the machine learning, the AI, artificial intelligence. We are late started in almost everything. But in a very short time, India has made a mark for itself. I was abroad. I was surprised to see, and also my chest swelled up when I heard that people in the Bay Area in the USA, California, they were saying that India is number one in robotics. I just couldn't believe it. I said, I have not seen robotics anywhere. When I came back and asked the scientists yesterday, day before yesterday, during seminar in which the DG Claus was actually heading, the organizing the event. In fact, my this input got reinforced and validated by people who are dealing with the subject. Yes, we are actually somewhere in the top. May not be number one. That may be an exaggeration. That is the kind of new technology which is coming into India, despite having started late. I'll give it to DG, and because he's much more qualified and technologically he's got his savvy, perhaps you'll be able to throw more some light. And Dr. Roshan, you had navigated your journey of life through this. Maybe you'll be able to add something more.
General Singh, I would like to bring you in. We know that these niche technologies and disruptive technologies which are coming, they're blurring the lines. And with fast and precision weapons, the complexity of decision making is going to increase. So, what, according to you, you feel how India should navigate, and how is India doing as far as these disruptive technologies are concerned? Are we in sync with what is happening globally, or we need to work much more harder?
Okay, so are we in sync? I'll start from there. Are we in sync with the next generation disruptive technologies? For that to understand or understand our position, we need to understand what is a disruptive technology. Disruptive technology is a technology which suddenly whitewashes everything which was available in that domain, right? That means, for example, we had phone, pager, whole lot of things. Suddenly the mobiles came, and the mobiles have overtaken everything. So now you do everything with your mobile. You're navigating with mobile. You are possibly killing people with mobile. You are tracking people with mobile. You are managing your household things with mobile. You say, "Hey Siri, take me to so and so. Call the so and so." So what has happened is the entire technology has gone into your hand, and the next stage of disruption, even while we are talking, is phenomenal. If I tell you now, and those people who have read it and those people who have just seen the news yesterday would realize that the three top CEOs of the ICT, that means digital platforms, which is Google, Microsoft, and there's one more, they have decided. Apple is not on board. Samsung, Microsoft, and one more. Apple has decided not to ride on the bandwagon. Apple is like India, slow and steady. फूक फूक के आगे चलता है वो, बोलता है कि नहीं यार इतनी जल्दी जंप नहीं करूंगा. Yes, I remember the third one. Third one is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, Microsoft, that is Bill Gates, and Samsung. These three have come on board, or I would say have started already doing research in the area where you do away with mobiles also. There is nothing called mobile. There is only something called your brain. I will think and that thing will be done. So, which is being tried out. The Elon Musk is trying through chips embedded in your body, whether in the brain or wherever it is. It'll catch the impulse of your thought and then try to convert it into some kind of a doable action, and that action will be done by this particular command or instruction. And there are others who are thinking in a different manner, uh, trying to get this kind of a thing where mobiles are not required. You just on the go, you tell something and that particular thing will be done. So this is a very interesting piece. Now if this comes, let me tell you, radio communication, everything will go out of the window. There'll be no, I will just tell Sudhakar, come here, or Sudhakar, go to your right or left, without any walkie talkie or something like that. Imagine if that kind of a thing happens. Somebody may also do the reverse and blow off your brain or blow off your body, because if the communication is both ways, you will just get something up in the air and tell that particular device to go and kill so and so. He will do that. So this is the kind of disruption technology which we are looking at in the foreseeable future, which will come after the artificial intelligence goes to the next level. Currently, let me tell you, we are in the narrow artificial intelligence. We are not at all anywhere near the thought about artificial. The next two steps are AGI and ASI, artificial general intelligence, and after artificial general intelligence will be artificial super intelligence. Now super intelligence is the concept of singularity, where the human mind will be overtaken by artificial mind. Now we are still a very, very long way to go. There are a lot of issues, ethical, morally, legal, etc. But if it comes about, that is called disruption. Where is India? India has realized this issue. Robotics example which he gave, let me share my personal experience, and that is in 2016, I was visiting a lab of ours in CARE, Center for Artificial Intelligence. Believe you me, they had the robotics climbing the wall, vertical wall, climbing the stairs, a tank doing, of course, all in an experimental state, an armored vehicle doing recce, or sorry, not recce, patrolling of your institution, say Baba Atomic Research or any big institution is there. Now you have human beings, they'll be always there. You cannot replace them. But along with that, there is this technology of an armored vehicle which is self-driven, we are talking so great about Tesla, etc. That guy was doing it on his own, autonomous. It was just traveling all around the institution. Once they fructify, once they become absolutely foolproof, you can imagine the kind of power we will have, whether it is along the borders, whether it is along our institutions, whether our critical infrastructures are concerned, along the shores, along the inside the hinterland, in our capital region, etc. But they will take some time. We are already way, way deep into the research of these things, and a lot of progress has been done. Similarly, space. Now, space is something which will be able to really drive these institutions and make them more and more, sorry, these disruptive technologies, and make them more and more lethal and autonomous. But there is a limit to making things autonomous. We should be very careful and not allow the human mind to overtake the autonomous mind. I think that day we will start suffering the reverse, and they will start dictating terms to you. I had imagined the future in a TED talk where I said that the future, long future, maybe after 30 years or so, would be where there would be gurus, pandits, like we have the Brahminical society. There'll be pandits with a lot of gyan, dimag, who can create these super duper robots, and there'll be robots who can do these tasks which human beings can't do. So these pundits and these robots will become the mainstay, and the human beings like you and me will become their slaves. So all the low end work will be done by common people like us, and the people who will rule will be these people with a lot of brain, Einstein type of people, along with these robots, etc., carrying out all the kind of jobs. People are looking at reversing the aging process. That is disruptive technology. If we are able to reverse the aging process, imagine these gurus will live for life. वो चलते रहेंगे एंड हम लोग जैसे लोग मरते रहेंगे killed by the gurus and killed by the, so it's a very dangerous scenario in the future. This is something which I thought I must get inside this discussion to make it a little more interesting when people want to listen to it subsequently in their thing. Okay, so I'll stop here just to tell you that disruptive technologies, India is fairly well ahead. We are working at it, but to say that we are anywhere near operationalizing it, see, the proof of the pudding is getting these technologies into your war fighting. That will take time. That is why we have announced that it is the decade of transformation. That means up to next 10 years, it is a decade of transformation, getting technology into the defense forces and then absorbing it so that our manpower, our human resource is able to effectively use it. Because ultimately, it is the man behind the machine which is the most important thing. You may have the patents, but if the pilots are not good, period, finished. But what is more dangerous is loyal wingmen. Loyal wingmen who will become more dangerous than the pilot who is flying the manned aircraft. We had the F-16 and the unmanned aircraft combat in I think 2024, wherein the unmanned aircraft won against the manned aircraft. I'm talking of the F-16 in the US. So these are very dangerous signs of things to come. Over to you.
You rightly pointed out, in future, I think we'll have all those scientific
General
science.
Sudhakar wants to General
Huh.
Sudhakar wants to add something.
No, sir,
Yeah, quickly
I have
that.
been your eternal student. I am, in fact, learning. This is a highly technical subject, but I wanted to actually highlight and contribute in this podcast only the relevance and importance of the rare earth element, how they have been from politicization to weaponization, how they're actually being uh, exercised by global powers to beat each other's game plan. For example, it will do good for our audience to know that China has got 36 million tons, 30% of the world's rare earth element. Total Earth's deposit or the reserve is 99 million tons. China has got 36 million tons. And as per my research, it says that China has got 97% of global production of RRE, which may not be correct, but I have got something here quickly, just in 1 minute, let me share, sir. There is a product known as antimony. This antimony is a critical mineral used for strategic sectors such as missiles, infrared sensors, flares, ammunition, and even nuclear weapons. And India doesn't have this. So on 15th of August 2024, China has restricted export of antimony. China is the only country, I'm told, which has got antimony. Similarly, China also is the country which is a leader and it dominates every supply chain segment upstream, midstream, downstream, covering mining, extraction, refining, processing. It enjoys a near monopoly status, controlling 60% of critical mineral production, 80% of processing worldwide. Therefore, any decision China makes has profound national public security implications globally. European Union, India, Japan, and US, we are strategically vulnerable to these kind because of our dependencies. And last but not the least is an issue which I want to do. One is antimony, the second is gallium, the third is germanium. These are the three products which are used, and the hardening. You have the carbon hard, soft, and three different types used for electric vehicle. But what I'm coming to now is that India every year imports lithium, nickel, cobalt, and copper. In the year 2023, we imported 34,000 crores rupees from China. 2024, I'm told, I don't have the facts because I did try to carry out the research. This amount had doubled, and in 2025, half the year has passed by. It has already crossed 50,000 rupees. It is going to go up by several times. And now, recently, all of us would have heard in the open media that China has restricted supply of some of these items to India as well, thereby impacting our automobile industry. So why am I highlighting this is that although the World Trade Organization, this matter was referred to WTO sometime in 2010. After that, vessel of China rammed into a Coast Guard vessel of Japan, and it went into a kind of a very long drawn legal affair. And matter was referred to WTO because China stopped supplying the REE to Japan. Consequent to that, WTO had given a ruling that no country in the world is authorized or can actually weaponize the supply of rare earth element. But despite that, China has been weaponizing it. This is the point I
Well,
wanted to.
Sudhakar, we'll just because the time
That,
is short and
that's
we're already over, so we have got a lot of questions, but we'll take one or two quick questions and a quick reply for that. Um, this is by
Ask this question. I think this is
yes, all realists in India distrust US to say we won't buy fighter jets from them, but we're getting engine equally crucial AWOCs, torpedoes, and Apaches. So where are we drawing line?
sir. Please, sir.
yeah.
General Dushan will
You,
be able to answer it.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Look, it's not about clearly dividing our approach that we will negate everything which is now coming from the United States of America. These deals which you are referring to were struck a long time back, not today. They have been actually got into a few years back. In fact, when we go into such deals, we do a cost benefit analysis and we do a comparative analysis of what is available in the world. Now, keeping all that in mind, if we get a better deal from the US, we go in for US. Now the question is only about the three things which they are trying to thrust down our throat, and that is F-60, F-35s, F-35s, and the what do you call Javelin and the Striker. Now on these three issues, we have serious concerns. F-35s has not got good reviews. There are people in the United States of America itself who have written that it is a overly technology heavy aircraft which is unable to actually perform to its full capacity because of its all up ratio, that's all up weight ratios, etc. The Air Force people will be able to explain better. The second thing is that they're hugely costly, and if you can do the same task or a little with a little cheaper platform, but without losing any major disadvantage, I mean advantage, then I think we should go in for that. So we are debating between S-57 and Su-57 and other platforms which are there, the French one as well as Eurofighter. The number of them which are being analyzed or evaluated by the Air Force, I'm sure they will be able to take up due position. As far as strikers are concerned, they have not provided us with the field trials of strikers. We will not take a system which is not given to us for trials, let's say in the high altitude or in the medium altitude, in terrains which India faces, or in terrains where India fights, at extreme deserts to extreme winters, in the battlefields of Ladakh and the battlefields of and the northeast, in Sikkim, etc. So we have to look at our requirement, prove that system is good for us, and then we'll buy it. Whether it is American, whether it is Russian, whether it is French, it's so simple issue of national interest and what is required by us. Okay, you can go to the next one.
May I, sir, very quickly, gentlemen, whoever has, Mr. Kothari, you have asked a question, but if you go as per the statistics, in past 15 years, the major part of procurement of the weapon platforms have been done post extended standoff with China. That is 2020, after the Galwan incident. This is on ad hoc and emergent procurement. Majority, 25 billion US dollar have been spent. Major platforms have been bought during this period. If I am wrong, you may correct me. And therefore, under the circumstances, when the supply chain is actually getting disrupted, there is no reliable source to provide to meet the security needs of the country. Perhaps at that point in time, USA happened to be the most reliable and trusted party, because after 2000, there is a progressive agreement pattern of activity, and relations with the USA has taken a tremendous quantum jump. We have improved for good, and vis-a-vis what it was there prior to 2000. That is all I have. Thank you. You're muted.
The second question is about the rare earth materials. When will we gain control over it? We have been talking about it. So, anybody?
So you can't fix a timeline here. This is a
Yes,
question.
it's very
This is a
difficult.
question which depends on two, three things: A, exploration results, how it pans out in the future; B, our international cooperation. Just to inform you that India is entering into a partnership with Japan and Australia for rare earth materials. Hope we are successful in that. This is the latest I have on this, and I would say that when there is an urgency, there is always a way ahead for us. So maybe next 3 to 4 years we should be okay as far as rare earth is concerned.
This is the last question.
Yeah.
This is about the
This is-
byproduct industry.
Yeah.
So, General Sudhakar, if you would like to take.
Oh, this is highly technical, sir. Sir, you please take a call.
Okay, I think this is a subject which I also don't have that much of expertise. So we will let it go. If there is a need, we'll find out a little about it, and we'll put it in the comment box of this particular podcast.
Yes. So I think with this, we'll come to the end of this podcast, and we had a very interesting topic. And This, I think we should keep this as the last one.
No, right.
No, no.
I think.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, well, let's.
I mean,
I
this
think.
is a I think question not related to the topic.
What is
Huh.
it?
So we, I think the time is also going. So we'll end this podcast. And thank you, panelists, for joining this podcast, and also our viewers who are taking time off to come and join us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we should also like to thank our viewers for within a span of about 3 to 4 months, we have garnered from nearly just about 1,000 subscribers to 10,000 today. So that's a big
Yes.
day for Clause. 10,000 subscribers within 3 to 4 months. I think it's
Yes.
a record of its own. Thank you very much to all our viewers, and I would request each one of you to share our videos as far and wide as possible, because we are actually giving you रियल फैक्ट्स. वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग ऑफ थिंग्स इन हवा में बात नहीं करते हैं हम इस चैनल पर. हम इस चैनल पे कोशिश करेंगे कि आपको मराठी में भी करें, अभी अब बंगाली में शुरू करने वाले हैं, अब हिंदी में भी हम करते हैं कुछ पॉडकास्ट, और इंग्लिश में तो हम करते ही करते हैं. इंग्लिश में इसलिए करते हैं कि ज़्यादातर जो ऑडियंस है वो इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग है, इसलिए हम इंग्लिश में करते हैं, बट हम फ्यूचर में हिंदी में भी करेंगे. सो with folded hands, we thank each one of you for having
Yes.
been with us, and we will request a similar support in the future as well. Thank you very much on behalf of Dr. Roshan, Jan Sudhakar Jee. Being a inflection point video of this video, we would request all of you to share it as far and wide as possible and make this video go viral. Thank you very much, Jai Hind.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, sir.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Roshan, Dr. Roshan.